back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe. Subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live with the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, PC Multiverse, State of Pro Wrestling, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, could be some tabletop RPG action and more. Go ahead and check it out today, right there by subscribing on YouTube. Again, thank you to the over 150,000 people who saw the video already of the Sphere here in Las Vegas. So I am very humbled and appreciative of that. So if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe today to go ahead and let us know more what you want with us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos or a PCC Multiverse without my good friend returning. And I'll tell you what, it's so great to have her back once again. She is the mistress of all that's divine. Right here for us at the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is a good friend indeed. You got to check out what she's doing today at the V&V, the Vampires and Vitae. Also as well, the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Go ahead and check out what she's doing on those great channels, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. Subscribe today. You'll be glad you did. It is my good friend. It is Melinda Barkhouse-Ross. And Melinda, between you being busy and me having car troubles, we haven't been able to put out a regular episode in a little bit. I am so humbled and so glad we got a chance to do so. We got a lot to catch up on for both good and for bad on today's show.
Yeah, definitely. And missed you, buddy.
I missed you as well, my friend.
My
It's just
goodness.
truly great to have you. You are a pop culture guru, and I always love feeding off the brains of both you and Josh, and I didn't mean that in a zombie-like way. I meant as far as the knowledge you might have. So there you go, indeed. But on a serious note, I want to start off the show by paying my respects to both the legends of pro wrestling that have passed away earlier today and yesterday in Bray Wyatt, who we thought was coming back to the WWE for a return, but unfortunately, due to a fatal heart attack after some circumstances where he had a previous heart attack due to issues from COVID. Unfortunately, he has passed away today. And I know the world of wrestling is really devastated and surprised and saddened to hear that. Plus, they were also saddened by the death of legendary wrestler Terry Funk at the age of 79. I do wish both of those families condolences. And John Orlando and I, next week, we will have a State of Pro Wrestling honoring both of those individuals and their career. Plus, we'll be talking about All In, WWE, and so much more. So go ahead and check it out this time next week, right here for the State of Pro Wrestling on the Pop Culture Cosmos. I also want to mention some more bad news as well.
Oh, dear.
And you're not going to like this one, Melinda, because you said what was going to drive you back to the theater. We've been talking for months now. What is going to drive you back in the theater?
Yeah.
What would drive you and get you back? What would get you to grab your husband, Robbie Ross, right from the barbecue pit right now, grab him by the arm and say, "We're going to the movies"? That was going to be.
I really thought it was going to be John Wick, and it wasn't.
But what did you say on the show it was going to be?
Dune.
Part 2. That's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we did hear the news today, but it's been long rumored. I actually prepped my wife for this for several weeks because the rumors were out there. It was actually from reliable sources. Warner Brothers did confirm that they are moving Dune Part 2 to March. Plus also as well, Lord of the Rings, the animated War of the Rohirrim, I believe that is moving to December of next year as well. So both of those films are being pushed back to 2024, relating to the issues of the ongoing Actors and Writers Guild strikes. So trying to find content that they can go ahead and put at the first half or even second half of next year, because they feel that they're going to be backed up with a lot of projects that are not going to be able to show off until 2025. So I guess they're covering their bets on that. Nothing that they are producing in the month of December in regards to Aquaman and the other two features that they have, Wonka and the other feature that they have coming out in December, they have not been moved as of yet, which is kind of strange that they go ahead and move Dune, but not the three movies that they've got coming in December. But okay, whatever. So yes, just wanted to go ahead and hit you up with that. But on the good news, I will tell you though that Barbie has reached a milestone. It is now the largest and highest grossing film in North America for the year 2023. Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling need to be congratulated on that. They're still about 70-ish million away from being the number one movie around the world ahead of Super Mario Brothers, but that looks like it could be a done deal as well. Your thoughts on Barbie's impending takeover as the number one movie of 2023?
I wasn't surprised that the Barbie movie was doing well. I really wasn't surprised. I am surprised to hear it pulling in those kinds of numbers. It's really impressive. It's wonderful. I only think good things about it. But I mean, it's definitely come to a point where it's outperforming any expectations that I had for it.
It barely got beat by a underperforming Blue Beetle, and I was very sad for Josh and for the Hispanic community because this was supposed to be something that
Yeah.
likening it to a Black Panther type scenario where people of a certain community for the first time are represented in a superhero movie. Actually got pretty good ratings. The lead, who is from Cobra Kai, he did a sensational job. Everything seemed to be falling together. Max liked it, as I've said before previously. It was supposed to be geared as far as a Max only movie, but they decided they liked it so much of Warner Brothers they put it out on the big screen. But unfortunately, it did get number one, but it fell on the shorter end and is probably just going to go ahead and fade on out in a very rapid fashion. So I'm sorry to hear that that's going to be the case, but it looks like for all intents and purposes that up until unless we see something out maybe in December, it looks like Barbie will be the number one movie of the year when it's all said and done.
I would say so. Do you suppose Warner Brothers will pull out any of those movies that they've shelved? Not Warner Brothers, sorry, DC.
As far as what? Oh, the movies that they
That
the
they
only the only it's the only the Batgirl movie.
Well, do you think that will see the light of day if the
Well, if
writer's
that's the
strike goes
case,
too long?
well, they might. That's a good question. Excellent question. If they do so, Warner Brothers does, they do have to pay the taxes on it, which is the reason why they did that in the first place.
Oh yeah, that's
They
right.
get a kickback for
Right.
not bringing it out
Right.
as far as on their taxes. But if they do bring it out, those taxes get hidden. But if they don't have enough content, you could very well be seeing that. So
Yeah.
excellent point indeed. And that's something that, I think that Don Fobbs and I will be talking a little bit more about is how the strike is affecting shows. So we definitely will be talking about that in our upcoming TV appearance that she will be making here in the not too distant future as we go ahead and have a TV report from her. But a lot of great stuff coming down the pike, my friend. But last but not least, before we hit the news, National Cinema Day. Okay, if Dune Part 2 doesn't get you in the theaters because it's not coming out until next year,
Right.
how about a $4 movie?
I mean,
Because North American theaters all around the country are going to celebrate National Cinema Day with $4 movies, and not just regular movies, not just out of print movies. We're talking first run movies, movies that debut this weekend, and IMAX movies as well.
wow. I mean, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know if I have time, but maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Yeah. No,
Maybe for a late night feature for you and the hubby.
that would be so
Mhm.
fun. That's a great idea. And then we could
Okay.
go for ice cream after.
Yes, there you
Maybe
go.
maybe
And
get some fat burger.
yeah.
Oh.
It's not like in Las Vegas, we're not open 24 hours in a lot
Yeah,
of
right.
places.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think just put out there, I will tell you, get your tickets ahead of time.
Mm,
And if you do go through Fandango, they do charge a buck more, buck and a half more, just to let you know the convenience fees. But if you go
right.
straight to theaters, it's $4. So enjoy it. Sunday, National Cinema Day.
Nice.
Shows are $4 for anything, whether you're going to see Barbie, Oppenheimer, like I'm going to go ahead and catch up on, Mission Impossible, doesn't matter, or even the new releases coming out, or the new releases that just came out. National Cinema Day. Please support the cinema by going back to the box office. $4. And also $4 combos as well. So go ask for in many of these locations. So go ahead and check out your local theater today and sign up and get some tickets for Sunday for National Cinema Day. Indeed. But before we head to the break, my friend, I wanted to hit you up with one more last thing before we get into Ahsoka and Gamescom and Atari 2600 plus, because everything has to have a plus. Star Trek Day and anything else we want to talk about on today's show. And that is Baldur's Gate 3, which has come out to PC and it's coming soon to your neck of the PlayStation Woods and
Mhm.
PlayStation 5. It will be coming later on to Xbox Series S and X, but it has come out like gangbusters and it will be one of the top selling games, despite it being only on PC for the month of August. It at one time had almost 1 million concurrent users. People were going crazy for it. This is a game that's been in development in the early access for 3 years. They finally made it a full-fledged game, put it out there. It has the D&D exact, from what I'm hearing, experience, not exact experience, but about as good as you can get on a platform as far
Yeah.
as in the PC format. Your thoughts, my friend, on this? It is something which I think that every D&D lover, such as yourself, might want to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And by all the sound by the sounds of everybody that I have spoken to who are currently playing the game, it definitely has those roots in D&D, and it definitely doesn't let you forget it as you're playing the game, which I think is
Mhm.
interesting.
For
Um
better or for worse.
well, for better, for everything that I'm
Well,
hearing.
not if you don't roll, if you roll a few
Oh,
ones, then
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, that's half the fun at the table, isn't it?
which I have done in
Yeah, but
Dungeons and
so
Dragons.
we both have, really. I had a
Yes.
whole character arc about her magic not working anymore because my rolls were so bad for like 3 months.
I remember we were playing a
So,
Star Wars mercenary game,
yeah,
and I had a pistol to a guy's head, and really directly to his head, and I rolled a one, and I end up, according to the dungeons master, actually putting my arm down and shooting his foot. Or do you remember that one time we were playing,
yeah,
and I was like, it's this big cliff, and everybody just like jumped over, and I had to wait for me, and I was gonna do something all spectacular, all flippy, all just like all showing off, and I was running into the air, and I was running, and I was leaping, and all of a sudden I'm leaping, and I'm about doing my flip, and the DM says roll for initiative, and so I rolled as far as for athletics, excuse me, rolled
yeah.
for athletics, got a one, and ended up hitting the wall and just sliding down.
I do remember that. I do remember it also being quite funny. So,
Yes, everybody was hysterically laughing, and I meant to play it up, and it was perfect. I actually was glad I rolled that low, but yes, I
yeah,
just wanted to make sure Baldur's Gate 3 you knew was on your radar. It is something that, again, as a PC player and soon to be PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, a little bit later on, is something that they might get into as well. It has actually garnered huge success. It's got a 97 on Metacritic, one of the highest scored games of the past decade. Again, it's something I think every D&D fan will love. You are seriously into Diablo. I'm
yes,
not going to dissuade you on that. You're
yeah,
obviously having a great time despite all the initial great success, then whatever they did to piss off their fan base, and then after that they're trying to make amends, and their season of blood is coming and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, my friend, as a D&D individual, for both you and Robbie, you might just get hooked on Baldur's Gate 3.
yeah. And one other thing, and another great point actually from people who have been playing it is that there's not microtransactions in it. You don't need to buy any part of the game to
And
be
it's a
able to win.
huge game. It's
Yeah. It's a
huge.
wide open world. You can explore, you can go well, not like totally wild, but I mean you can go pretty wild in the game. And it's great to see, a game from a smaller publisher be put up against games like AAA games from these big guys who are just full of bugs and don't worry, we'll fix it in a patch. Don't worry, we'll fix it in a patch. And then this game arrives and it's perfect and it works.
It's really, really good. Yes. And but
Yeah.
that's 3 years of public beta testing right there for you.
Well,
That's the model.
then that is something that, these AAA game producers should be looking at then. If you're not testing your games enough and it's being released with stuff that needs to be patched within the first couple of days of the game, because there's a huge flaw that you've known about for months and just didn't bother to fix.
Yeah.
Come on, do better.
Well, I will tell you what, though, the voice acting is tremendous from what I've seen.
It
The
is, yeah.
graphics are stellar. For like you said, for a developer who has just stayed within the Baldur's Gate realm, and just stayed within that realm, and they are, or they were not considered, like you said, a AAA developer or publisher.
Yeah.
They are now getting very close to that, if not already in that limelight with this title, because it is absolutely sold like gangbusters. It is, we thought this year already was just going to be so great. And I know a lot of people are already calling it the best video game year ever. I still will not, because unless these games this year, all of them will leave an imprint that so many of the games of 2007 did. I will still rank 2007 ahead of it, but on sheer quality, as far as critical scores and critical hails, as far as from an audience, I may have to give it to this year as far as being at that on that end, because Tears of the Kingdom for Zelda, everybody was going to give that, even as far as all these other games that were scored highly. Oh, that game, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, was going to be the number one game, regardless. Game of the year, hands down. All of a sudden, Diablo 4 comes out. All of a sudden, you've got what's coming out here with Baldur's Gate 3. You've got other 9 and 10 games that are out there constantly being scored. This has been a fantastic year for video games. I will not tell anybody different. And Baldur's Gate 3 could surprise a lot of people when the end of the year wars are done.
Yeah, I think it's going to. And what, as a D&D player, what's making me a little uncomfortable in my chair, if you will, is that I think that this is the vision that I think that Wizards of the Coast has for what they want to turn Dungeons and Dragons into. And I think that moving D&D into this fully realized digital space, or even an augmented reality kind of space, I really do think that they've kind of said with these changes that they're making to D&D that that's what's going on. So I'm sure they're looking at the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and going, yes, we are absolutely right in the direction that we're going to take our tabletop game.
It definitely looks like it. I
Yeah.
mean, even for me, as someone who has been allergic, it
Mhm.
has been diagnosed that by my doctor, allergic to point and click adventures, and also as far as strategy games. Just again, it's just I shake and I quiver when I see them.
Yeah.
I'm kidding when I say that, of course, but this looks like something I want to go ahead and delve into.
Yeah.
This looks like something that, even though it's not a free roaming, you're just moving around hack and slash or first person shooter, or something that I could just go ahead and turn my brain off and do. This looks like it's just going to overwhelm me, but in such a good way, with so many different things thrown at me, and maybe even reignite my full blown love for Dungeons and Dragons that I once had when I was starting to play with you
Mhm.
and Roger and Robbie and the whole crew back in 2020 and 2021, when I was really into it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It may do that. It might answer that for you. And yeah, no, I everything that I'm seeing is all good stuff. As a D&D player, it makes me a little bit nervous because I'm I'm con maybe this is going to date me. Maybe I'm becoming the old guard that's like, get off my lawn. But I do worry about the magic of Dungeons and Dragons being taken away a little bit by all of these digital platforms and digital tools and stuff. There truly is something about sitting around the table with your friends and doing goofy voices and having little miniatures of your characters that you move across the map and stuff like that. There truly is something magical about it. And I know that the world is becoming more and more digital and stuff like that, but there's just something about that magical analog around a table experience for Dungeons and Dragons that I think the digital platforms just haven't figured out how to make or recreate for us yet.
Okay, Clint Eastwood in El Torino or Gran Torino.
No,
There you
it's
go.
true. Like I get all cranky about it, and I
Yeah,
really
you
shouldn't
do.
because
I should
things
call you Gran Torino now from now on.
just Gran
Get
Torino,
off my lawn!
right?
Get
Yeah.
off!
No, it's just one of those things, as you grow and as you age, for all you young folks out there, there will be a time where you'll see the things that you love begin to evolve and change without you. and you know, you'll reminisce a little bit and you'll get kind of sad because there'll be generations that never will experience it exactly the way that you did, and you know, it's sad to me.
Well, that's what your husband did it for. You can
Yeah.
go ahead and cry on his shoulder, or just give him a nice little pop on the arm, and he'll go, "Ow, what was that for?" Just because you're here and I needed to do that. Oh,
Right,
okay.
it's because our great grandkids will never sit around a table to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Back in my day, as
What
my
else could it be?
as my youngest says, back in my day.
Yeah,
There you go. Dad, you're dating yourself again. All
yeah,
right. And my other daughter says, "Oh yeah, Facebook is for old people." Well, thank you.
yep.
Appreciate you
Awesome,
saying that.
awesome. I remember
Awesome
when
indeed.
it started, and you had to have a
Yes,
special invitation to get access to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts out there on Baldur's Gate 3? The hit video game for PC is scoring up so many fans, players alike, and it hasn't even hit consoles yet. It's just about ready to hit PlayStation, and it's going to hit Xbox soon after that. So, what are your thoughts out there on Baldur's Gate 3? Are you trying it? Are you playing it? We had on for a great interview just before it came out, Jamie Sweet, that's on the YouTube channel right now, talking about Baldur's Gate 3, and he's already played like 70, 80, 100 hours of it. So, your thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3, please let us know. You going to try it? You might like it. Let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, my friend, Ahsoka debuted this week with not one but two episodes on Disney Plus, and you were so proud.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost sense you patting yourself on the
Yep.
back,
Mm-hmm.
as you were saying this to me, as you're DMing. Gerald, I did my homework. I watched Ahsoka. Both episodes, did not fall asleep. I
Mm-hmm.
actually watched them both. And I
Yep.
was like, oh, that's really good. That's really good. All right. Episode 2 is only like half hour. It goes up just by like that, as far as even though the pacing of the shows themselves, and we have a situation that, me with what I said before about one of the other Star Trek shows, Star Wars shows, got Star Trek on the brain with Star Trek Day, Star Wars shows, such as we've talked about before with the Book of Boba Fett, where I called the Book of Sloboba Fett. Well, Obi-Wan came out. That wasn't much faster, but that was okay. Not too bad. Andor blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible show. And then you have a Sloka, which gets back to the pacing. Get that? A Sloka.
Really? You don't like it?
No, I said I thought it was okay so far. I was not huge into the Clone Wars series. I did not watch all the episodes, so that's a precursor to everybody out there. They're trying to catch you up to speed with what's going on or what went on at the tail end of the Clone Wars. And if you weren't interested in the Clone Wars, it's gonna take a little while to get into it, but it does move a little bit slow, a slow gut. So I ask you your thoughts on this as someone who may have caught more than I did on the Clone Wars. How are the first two episodes for you for Ahsoka?
Okay, so maybe I'm coming from this from a bit of a um and I'm going to use the word privileged, but that's not what I mean. But I'm coming from it from a different perspective because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. So um, I didn't even realize that it was happening during the Clone Wars. Like that's how out of the
It's
timeline.
actually about it's years after the Clone Wars. Everything is
Yeah.
settled, and in
Okay.
fact, if you saw in the first episode, they were giving award as
Mm-hmm.
a remembrance of what
Mm-hmm.
happened after the aftermath of everything was done. So that was pretty much what you see there as far as the aftermath of the Clone Wars. This takes place a little bit after the episodes of the Clone Wars took place. So, but still, it helps if you actually knew it religiously as far as that show is concerned. If you didn't, it takes a little bit to pick up and understand and get with, but you can get with it. By the end of episode 2, it's a little bit easier to get into. It just seems to me like the pacing, again, it trended towards what we saw with the Book of Boba Fett, And outside, but the content itself, the conversations itself, the characters are to me are fresh because I didn't see 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. So to me, I like that aspect of it. It's just that when you have these type of shows when it concerns Star Wars universes that are not directly in 100% what we've seen already. It's just taken me time to develop and see what I like and don't like. I love the world of Andor. Love the way they go ahead and captured me right in my face, right there. It's not that it was like super speed or the pace was really high. It was just something that the acting really got to me. This one, everybody seemed to be like laid back, reserved because again, it was the end of the Clone Wars, and it just seemed like it's going to take a little time for to get them back all energetic and I guess when Thrawn arrives, with Admiral Thrawn arrives, that's probably going to speed things up and get things going in a direction I want it to go.
Sure, but as a, I'm going to call myself a casual Star Wars fan.
Hmm.
You know,
Grand Admiral Thrawn, by the way.
I've really just been enjoying it. I thought it was great. I've enjoyed the fight sequences. I thought they were beautifully choreographed. I thought they were very well done. Hats off to Rosario Dawson for all of that
Yes,
work.
she's kicking butt.
She really is. And yeah, her performance alone might be what I'm enjoying so much.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I like this. Personally, I like this more than I liked Andor.
Really?
I know. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I'm sorry to say it, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
No, that's your it's your opinion.
I'm
Absolutely. I just
really,
think
really enjoying it.
everybody just seems so laid back right
Maybe
now.
that's what I'm enjoying about it. Finally, like,
Reserved.
yeah,
Reserved.
like people keeping their cards close to their chest seems to
Mhm.
be a major thing that's happening a lot with, a lot of the characters. I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride, man.
Nothing wrong with that, young lady. So I will say this though, when it comes to Ahsoka, 2 episodes in, I thought that was very interesting that they wanted to drop two.
Hmm.
Your thoughts on this, especially concerning the fact that content is going to be at a premium here upcoming for all these streaming outlets. Wise move to drop both 2 episodes. Wise move to drop 2 episodes both at the same time for Ahsoka.
I think so because these shows from Star Wars have been so hit and miss, more miss
Hmm.
than hit. I think. I think it was good to drop a really solid first episode, but then to drop a second one that continues to build. I don't know. I feel like there's momentum that is, once it gets going, it's going to be a freight train. I don't know why I feel like that, and I could be wrong, but that's how I feel like the show is going to evolve as it gets going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I like what I see. I just did want to make sure. I want to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I haven't just doesn't have a like a stale taste in my mouth like the Book of Boba Fett did at the end
Right.
of the day, and it took the Mandalorian to come in and save the day for the show. So I want to actually see a little bit more from Ahsoka before I make any judgments. But I think the series itself will pick up once they get to and he appears Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I'm looking forward to that part. But Devotions here says, hi, Gerald and Melinda. Great to have you here. We're talking Star Wars Ahsoka before we hit our first break. So I think we'll tell you right now, Melinda, is that once Grand Admiral Thrawn, it's funny, it's because it's actually Mads Mikkelsen's brother, Lars, who actually played the role. In fact, most of these roles are from the actual, series, the actual series itself. That I love most of all.
Yeah, I think that's great and genius. And because then you have actors who already understand the characters, and you don't have to go ahead and you know just have somebody try to reinvent the work that's already been done in an animated series. So I love that. I think that's was very smart.
Just want to give a big shout out to Kurt, Devotion, Problem Child. Hope everything's great with every one of you. And I know that Devotion wants to thank you for your book suggestions on the last
Oh,
time out.
nice. Good.
So truly appreciate that. Kurt Affair says Ahsoka has been slow. Ahsoka But great music by Kevin Kleiner and cool to see a
Yeah.
live action Hera and Chopper. Absolutely. I agree with you. All for all the fans out there that have watched Clone Wars over the years, they're getting they've always imagined, well, what could have been like if they missed live action? What could have been like if it was made into a live action feature? Well, now
Yeah.
you got it.
Mhm.
Now it's been realized, and I'm hoping it's bringing a lot of people's fantasies come to light in a positive way.
Yeah, I would say that I would say it's going to succeed on that if it hasn't already for a lot of people.
So, what are your thoughts out there on Ahsoka? You notice I said it right.
Mm.
Did you think it was Ahsoka, or did you like it a lot? Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, 1/2 hour down, 1/2 hour to go here at the PCC Multiverse. Thanks again for watching and listening. It is Melinda Barkhouse Ross, who's going to be telling you at the end of the show what she is up to and all the damage that she's causing out there in the world of tabletop RPGs and streaming, and probably wreaking havoc on her own husband right now as far as what he has to do and take care of on a weekly basis with all of his great stuff that he's got planned along with Melinda. So you're going to check that out in the end of the episode. But my friend, I do want to ask you this.
Mhm.
Did you get a chance to see, did you do your homework again on what was announced at Gamescom? Jeff Keighley, who, I was really hard on as far as I was really he was not my favorite cup of tea. Let's just put it that way. I actually wrote an article. It's not too pleased with him way back in the day for Game Source. Over the years, I've not exactly liked what he's done. I think he's just put it more as far as himself than sometimes the video game scene. He puts himself in the limelight instead of what the industry as a whole. But over the years, I've kind of softened my stance on him, and I think that with his latest Gamescom press conference, where he brought out a whole bunch of publishers, he was more in tune with putting them first and foremost, not just saying, "Here's all my friends, let them come announce their games" type of deal.
Mhm.
Your thoughts on what went on in Gamescom? I'll run down the list of all the games and all the stuff as far as the major bullet points as far as which games were really announced that we're really into. So your thoughts on Gamescom as a whole? Over 100,000 people are in Cologne, Germany right now to check it out. And I'll tell you what, it's the biggest game show of the year. Sorry, E3, but there's a lot of good stuff that was announced at Gamescom.
So Gamescom, they announced the Starfinder game there, right?
As far as, you talking about Starfield?
Yeah, Starfield. Thank you. Yes.
No, well, Starfield was announced a long time ago. Starfield's
Right.
actually going to be coming out on the 6th.
Okay, maybe that's what I
If
saw.
you pre-ordered it for the first, they did a presentation at the very beginning
Right.
with piano for the music theme, and
Mhm.
then they had a live action trailer, which I absolutely do not like when both PlayStation and Microsoft do that. I'd rather see gameplay trailers
Right.
instead of like live action trailers that I will forget about the second I see them. But then again, they did. And they showed us only in a small presentation a little bit more added gameplay of it. But I'm excited. I'm already hooked. I'm already thinking I'm going to play 100 hours of it. I already know what I want to do and where I want to go with Starfield. It looks like it's going to be a major hit. How big, I don't know, but this is something Xbox is banking on. So obviously that was the first point of contention. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, we got an extensive look at that. That's another long line of Call of Duty games. Obviously, this is harkening back to the Modern Warfare 1 and 2 days, where there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with Markov, who is the main villain in
Mhm.
those games. And if you remember the controversial no Russian scene, no Russian level, that really had a lot of people up in arms. That's being, that character, that evil character behind all that is being brought back into this. So that looks like something I might actually be interested in. Well, and I haven't been interested in Call of Duty in quite some time. A lot of good stuff that was either shown off or announced. Mortal Kombat, we got a bigger look at that. Tekken 8, we got a future release date for that. It's coming to different systems out there, so we're looking forward to that. Just a lot of good stuff announced. Anything else before I go ahead and do the rundown list of what was announced appeal to you?
No, I think that you kind of you checked all those boxes there. I'm glad to see things for Modern Warfare going back a little bit. You know, I am terrible at the Modern Warfare games. I'm just bad at first person shooters. And uh I'll kind of miss a little bit having somebody to that I can watch play the game. So I guess that's what Twitch is for. But I want to see somebody play through the story. I've always felt like the stories for Modern Warfare were incredible parts of those video games. And you know, if anybody just got Modern Warfare and plugged it in and went directly online and started to play online, do yourself a favor and go back and actually play through the game. Their storylines are so good. I think they're fantastic.
Kurt, especially on Ahsoka. I agree with you a little bit on Ahsoka. It has gotten a little wooden and has got a little bit off to a little bit of a slow start, but I'm hoping things will pick up again, like when Grand Admiral Thrawn appears. Devotion's asking Melinda, Gerald, do you consider yourselves more interested in gaming or TV and movies? Actually, I don't. It's to me, it's all about the IPs for me, honestly, on whatever platform. I mean, I could spend 100 hours in the game and have in the past, and I could spend a great bit of time on a TV series or movie. Melinda, how about you?
Yeah, out of the three, like video games are probably at the bottom of the pile for me. I'm like you for when it comes to video games, it's the IPs, like the Diablo stuff. I'm always going to love as long as they do Diablo games. I'll be 70 playing a new Diablo game. Um, but you know, when it comes to like if I'm gonna pick up like the new NHL game or the new Madden game or anything like that, that's not my cup of tea, and I probably wouldn't dip into that. But if there was something like um let's say like a football television show came on and everybody was talking about it, then
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that I would check out before I would check out a football video game, if that makes that clear at all.
No, absolutely. In fact, a football video game just came out in Madden, and it's not
Yeah.
getting the most stellar of reviews. And it'll be amazing if even with the head start, if it doesn't outsell Baldur's Gate 3, that will be a big, big problem. That will a lot of heads will roll at
Yeah.
EA. I can
Yeah.
tell you that for sure. So that's something already. Even Street Fighter 6 when it came out, it is not sold, even though it's garnered great reviews. It is not sold as high as what Capcom is hoping for, and especially with Mortal Kombat on the way, it's going to get pushed down even more. So, yeah, it's interesting to see where this video game reality is. So, yeah, if Madden doesn't sell like blockbusters coming out of the gate, we could be seeing a lot of heads roll for that. And the NFL not too happy along with it. The problem child says the pricing on video games make them prohibitively expensive for some. I couldn't agree with
Hmm.
you more, especially
Absolutely.
because the recent change to $70. Melinda and I both are very agreeable on that. Movies are a bit more democratic. To answer an early question, she has not seen Barbie yet, but she's very happy for its success.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to get her to go to National Cinema Day with her husband for a late night movie because it's only $4 for everybody out there in the U.S.
It's true.
U.S. theaters, $4. If that won't get you in there, I don't know what will, but we'll see what happens. Then add in the in-game purchases. Well, that's why Baldur's Gate 3, if you're, I know these guys are from the Lakers fast break side of things.
Hmm.
Jamie Sweet has been playing it so religiously because it's a huge open world game without microtransactions as of yet. So that's really, really, really good. Barbie streaming release date is September 5th. I don't know. I think that's going to stay out in the theaters for quite some time still. I think
Yeah,
if
I
you're going
think
to
it's
get a
got another
chance.
few weeks in
Yeah,
theaters.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's still got a little bit of success. It's just $70 million away from being the number one movie worldwide in the theaters. So will Barbie be on Amazon Prime? Most likely not right away, unless Amazon Prime lets you buy it up front as a digital purchase.
Yeah.
But I will tell you though, it will go on Max probably by the end of the year. I'm estimating a December release date for Barbie on Max. Just you don't need to aggregate me on that. I'm just a wild guess on that, but that's just my 2 cents. But when it comes to Gamescom, Alan Wake 2 was shown off more in detail. This time it's Alan Wake's character that was shown off. Cyberpunk 2077, a game that you are familiar with,
Yep.
Melinda, that is shown more off with the Phantom Liberty DLC or add-on part that you want to talk about, that got a great new look and a lot more features, and that's going to get a huge update alongside of it, even if you don't buy the DLC. So, want to make sure that you know that. Sonic came out with a couple different variations of games coming to both console and mobile. Also, as well, the Assassin's Creed Mirage and also Assassin's Creed Jade. That's Jade is coming out for mobile, Assassin's Creed for consoles. So that's something, again, if you're really into the Assassin's Creed series, there you go. A lot of good stuff that was announced and a lot of good stuff that was talked about. I think that there's a lot of things on the way that you're really looking forward to, but it just showed me overall, Melinda, when it comes to Gamescom with E3, I'm not going to say they're fully dead, but with probably the likelihood of not coming back for another year or two or three, Gamescom is going to be the major video game event for gamers each year.
Yeah, especially since PlayStation and Xbox don't seem to be playing friendly anymore. Not even for the sake of a public appearance. I would say that E3 may be languishing.
Southern Comfort asks a great question. On the video game front, what's been the biggest flop and biggest hit of 2023 so far as sales, I would probably, it's just a guess right now off the top of my head, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom would probably be my biggest sales wise. As far as the biggest surprise hit, I would probably say it would be Baldur's Gate 3, which has come out to humongous raves and reviews, 97 on Metacritic, and it's coming out as far as a PC only game. Already sold several million copies. So in its first month, that's fantastic news. The biggest flop of 2023 so far, I would have to say it's Microsoft's Redfall. Microsoft Redfall, I think so far and away is the biggest high profile flop of 2023. I know you had interest in it because it was a vampire game, but yeah, unfortunately, it has bit the dust. Microsoft quickly moved on. Everybody started blaming each other behind the scenes for its poor reception, and unfortunately, it's something that Microsoft is now swept under the rug entirely to move on to Starfield coming out in 2 weeks. So,
yeah, sometimes the best thing you can do is regroup and refocus.
Kurt Affair is also asking about the new PlayStation Portal handheld, which was shown off physically in detail at Gamescom. It's actually there. There's several videos out there with IGM, GameSpot, several others actually getting hands-on time with it. I remember my time at CES where I got that sneak peek and hands-on time with some of the different portables out there, like the Vita. I got hands-on before it came out. A PSP, same thing. So I know the PlayStation Portal is something that I think a lot of people are interested in it. But the problem is it's not a separate system where there will be separate games, plus it will be able to stream PS5 games. Its only purpose is for you to go on the road and stream PS5 games.
Yeah, I mean that's if that's its only purpose. So wait, there's going to be
There's no game specific for it. It's not a Vita. Because remember, the Vita could stream the PlayStation, was it 3 or 4? I forget. They could stream games, but obviously there were a line of games specifically for it.
right.
The PlayStation Portal, it's like a drone handheld where it will only go ahead and be a receptor to what you're doing on the PlayStation 5 as far as you can go ahead and play your PS5 games offline. It's like you're taking your mobile and you're playing your games on your mobile. And that's what it's doing. It's not actually you buying separate games specifically for that Sony handheld.
Gotcha.
It's only serving as a conduit, a streamer for whatever you're doing as far as PlayStation 5. Let's say you're playing the new Spider-Man 2 game.
Okay.
And you're really enjoying it, digging it, but now you have to go on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie's telling you we got to go to National Cinema Day once again. We're going to go to the theater and whatnot.
Yeah.
On the way, you want to play some more Spider-Man 2. You can take that PlayStation Portable and then transfer your game over and play it off that. But there will not be a game where you go buy at Walmart or whatnot. You can buy like a disc or whatnot, or even a little small memory chip of a game and put that into the PlayStation Portable itself. It will not do that. It will only be a digital streaming. Whatever it is that you buy on your PlayStation 5, you'll be able to play on your PlayStation Portable.
I mean, I guess that's okay, but it's very specific.
Kurt Fair says, "Is it just a glorified tablet?" In some ways, it is.
Yeah.
It's just a conduit. It's kind of like, just like smart televisions are going to play Xbox Games Pass, and that's the goal is to have every smart television be be capable of doing that. It's
Mhm.
only just going to be the end result of what it won't be able to add new games directly to it outside of downloading digitally. Any games that you're going to have to purchase or whatnot, actually just going to go through your Xbox Live, the cloud, or through your Xbox Series, and then you just play it off of there and stream it to your television. You stream it directly off your television, and that's how you're going to play it. So that's basically what it is. It's a conduit. It's something that it's not a full fledged you put in games and go type deal. It's
Right.
something where it's going to take whatever you have on the PS5 and make it portable for you.
Gotcha. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know that I mean, I'm sure that it's going to be of interest to a lot of people, but I don't think that that's really of interest to me at all. Really.
Kurt, I remember that Uncharted Vita game. I loved it. I had a Vita and I loved it. Absolutely, I missed it dearly when they didn't and they stopped supporting it. And that's something I'm very skeptical that they will continue to support it because any peripheral that they've had that's not named PSP, they've really stopped supporting it before, in some cases, before their time was up. So I do not hold hope that they will support this continuously, unless it may be, the PlayStation 5 generation, they may be acceptable of it. But yeah, I'll have to see it to believe it. So we'll see what happens, my friend. But yeah, that was on display at Gamescom. I know that Condor is saying the iPad has a lot of gaming potential, but it hasn't been exploited to its full potential. This is true. And that goes for Apple as a whole. And I'm sure that's something that they're going to be talking about even more because Apple Arcade has been a pretty good hit for them. The Game Boy has come back for, Lifted says, I want the Game Boy to come back for nostalgia. We'll talk about some nostalgia before we head on out with Atari. So that'll be coming out. And High Octane, last question before we hit the break. Is Grand Theft Auto ever coming back?
It has to. It's worth
I'd,
too much money to not.
I'd say 2025, earliest fall, maybe
Mm,
2026,
yeah.
mid or spring. I don't know. That's my guess. So yeah, they're greasing it for all it's worth. They're just putting out Red Dead Redemption right now on what was it, Switch and PlayStation, charging you $60, oh, $50 for it for a version that was made for the Xbox 360 and PS3. They're not even upresing it or doing anything fancy to it. They're just throwing it out there. So yeah, Rockstar just likes making money because they know they're going to sell that. They can put out the oldest version of it and they're just going to make money off it because that's what they do. But yeah,
Absolutely.
GTA 6 will be coming out, but it's just not coming out anytime soon.
Hmm.
Endorphin, last question before the break. Just curious, do both of you still have your old DVDs, VHS, and CDs, or are those tossed? I do have some CDs left. I do have some DVDs left. VHS tapes, I might have one or two, but outside of that, I don't really have a VCR anymore to play it. So
I had a pretty extensive DVD collection at one point, but when I moved down here to Vegas from Nova Scotia, it was definitely gone through, and a whole bunch of stuff was donated. I kept a few select titles, and hopefully I'll be able to get some of my stuff down here to Vegas eventually. That would be nice. But
we'll
yeah, I
see
do
what
have a
happens.
few. I do have a few DVDs kicking around, but really just like my absolute favorite movies.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts out there on Gamescom? All the big announcements. There were a lot more on top of that. Please let us know if you had anything specific that you enjoyed seeing, something you wanted to see but didn't get a chance to go ahead and check it out, or something that you wanted to see that just wasn't there that you kind of really are mad about. Please let us know your thoughts on Gamescom. Again, it is now the largest industry-wide video game celebration that's out there. It's taking place right now in Germany. If you're enjoying it, please let us know if you stop by Gamescom of this year. Please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, before we head on out, we mentioned nostalgia. And wouldn't you know, Atari, which flopped about, I'd say it was about 2 years ago when they tried to bring back a Atari like console, and because they were feeding off the nostalgia from what the mini Genesis and then the mini Nintendos that came out right around $100 mark. So
Yep.
Atari says, okay, we're going to go ahead and bring out a $500 Atari and see how that works. And unfortunately, it got over as well as mud. So it didn't do very well at all. And they were, I guess what happened was they started to go ahead and had a new change in ownership after that. Some things happened. They put out the 50th anniversary collection on a lot of platforms that are out there: Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. I rated it extremely high. One of my best pop culture things of last year. I had a chance to play it and extend, and it does bring that nostalgia back. So wouldn't you know, they've been feeding off that nostalgia so much. Not only do they have an arcade one-up machine on the way with a 50th anniversary celebration, but Atari 2600 Plus is on the way as well, which will give you an exact replica of the old Atari 2600, except in the back, it's going to be able to, attach to HDMI. So be able to go ahead and put on modern televisions. You'll be able to go ahead with the old school controller and still get frustrated by that. But it will come with 10 games only. 10 games. A 10 and 1 cartridge is being put on it. You can also buy the old cartridges and still be able to go that. So go ahead to our good friend Retro City Games, which we just had a commercial for, which you just heard during the break. So your thoughts on Atari 2600 Plus? It is only, I think, 129. I'll check for the price on that for sure, which I think is a lot smarter. Do you think this could be a lot better, despite the fact it only comes with 10 Atari 2600 games?
Well, I mean, it comes with 10 games, but if it's you're able to play the old games that you may still have kicking around in the basement, but no console to play them on, then I can see the interest in it, and I like that price point.
Right? And the price point is good. I'm going to confirm that for you. But did you ever get a chance to play the 2600 back in the day?
Oh gosh, I really can't remember. I would have been like just I'm sorry. I mean, I would have been like just a little bit too young
Mm-hmm.
at that point. I remember playing a baseball game. It's you see it in the Princess Bride. Like I
Mm-hmm.
specifically have memories of that game, but
Played
other
that
than
too.
that, yeah, other than that, I can't say for sure 100%. I'm not
I'm
sure.
gonna I'm gonna tell you right now, I was the happiest kid alive. I had already had a Pong system back when I was a kid, but my dad took me down to an old chain of department stores called I think it was not the Treasury. I think it was the Treasury, something like that. And we went into the store and he took me to the side of the building where they had the electronics and he got me the console with the box, the iconic box, the whole thing. And I was trying to carry it. I was still so small I could barely hold up to it because it was, heavy for me at that time. But got a chance to take it home. I just played it like crazy. Absolutely enjoyed it. It is a refresher of that. You can still find them out in the wild, like our good friends at Retro City Games. But if you want to get the updated version, it will be available for $129.99. It is actually now available on Amazon. If you go ahead and type in Atari 2600 Plus, it is available for pre-order. And wouldn't you know, Melinda, it's coming out just before the Black Friday season on November 17th.
I don't think that's very surprising.
Absolutely. So I will tell you that the options as well for it, you can get a 2 paddle controller plus a 4 game bundle for another $40. There's also Mr. Run and Jump coming out for $30 more. So you're going to see a lot of bundles like that based off of an Atari cartridge, probably in that neighborhood. So be prepared for that, or just head down to your local game store, or if you're in our Las Vegas Henderson area, Retro City Games. Check out there because those games will work on that console. So looking forward to seeing what people are going to be talking about when it concerns the 2600 Plus. Do you want to play the Atari 2600 Plus? Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. It was not a Montgomery Ward. I actually ran a Montgomery Ward, or I was a general manager of a Montgomery Ward, I should say, in Las Vegas here before they closed it down. But yes, no, I actually, when I was a kid, it was actually a store chain that is actually long, long gone, long ago. But I will tell you before we head on out, my friend, I do want to go ahead and mention Star Trek because Star Trek Strange New Worlds just ended its second season. as I talked about with Josh, he gave him the hard sell. And he's actually committed to going ahead and checking it out. I said that season two had a little bit of ups and downs compared to season one, but it was still the highs were extremely highs.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very good overall. It was pretty good for me. It's still going to be maybe on my best of. It's like going from a 9 to an 8, let's say, overall for a series, but there were some really good episodes in it. Well, Star Trek Day was announced for upcoming here in just a couple weeks right now. I think it's coming up as far as to celebrate the anniversary of the original series debuting. I think if I remember correctly.
Sounds right.
So, so what are your thoughts on Star Trek Day 2023 in September 8th? I do know that there are going to be not one but two episodes, the first two episodes from the first season shown on broadcast television on CBS of Strange New Worlds. Among other things, there's a special site that's involved. It's going to be actually showcasing a special video and celebration of all things Star Trek. Your thoughts on Star Trek Day 2023 coming up on September 8th?
Okay, so I know that they're making a hullabaloo, and they're putting the hullabaloo on Paramount Plus. And I know they're showing 2 episodes on like broadcast television. But why are you not putting the hullabaloo followed by 2 episodes on regular television? Why are you not giving Strange New Worlds?
They are putting the first two episodes on CBS.
I know, that's what I'm saying though. Like but I want all of it. It should all be there. It's Star Trek Day. If you own the IP, then own the IP and celebrate it. Don't hide it on your streaming service. Put it out there for everybody to have access to it. And maybe, I don't know, get a couple of new subscriptions out of it for your streaming service. Or maybe you'll see that there are enough people who are interested in Strange New Worlds, and maybe you'll give it a chance. I don't know, call me crazy, but I just I have such a problem right now with Paramount and the way that it feels like they're just shilling off Star Trek to their streaming services. And I don't know why it's bothering me on like a personal level. Like it's starting to feel personal. And
well, it is right now, according to Nielsen. They're kind of backdated. They can't show instantaneous or this week's. It actually dates back about 3 or 4 weeks. But their latest reporting is that 3 or 4 weeks ago, people were watching it more than anything else on Paramount Plus.
Right. So I don't know. I guess I don't. I mean, I'm clearly not privy to Paramount's business plans or what they have going on. Maybe there's a very good and very logical reason for why they're keeping it on a streaming service and not taking something that could be a massive hit show for them and putting it on traditional television. I don't know what the barrier is there. I don't know what that is. But
so let me ask you this. Then.
Mm-hmm.
There is the 2 episodes, the first 2 episodes. We saw them try to do the same thing with Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
And it didn't go so well. Is this the last beacon of hope for Star Trek to get over to a general audience? Is this because everything's falling into place with the strikes and your lack of content, and this is the real reason why they're doing it? They're not doing it for anything other reason than that, because right now they would be showing their fall schedule on a September 8th if it was under normal circumstances. Let's just put that out there and make put the truth out there. The strike is affecting this, and the thing is that it's opening the door for people to get into Star Trek Strange New Worlds because it was so hailed in its first season.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the last chance for Star Trek to go commercial to a broader audience?
Gosh, it might be the last chance for a long time, really. And that hurts me to say. It hurts me in, the heart of a 12, 13-year-old who bonded with her father watching Star Trek on the couch at supper time, And yeah, it feels mean, and it feels very, very personal. And maybe I need to take a step back from that. I don't know. But one thing that I can say for sure is that, I've said for a long time on the show that bad Star Trek is better than no Star Trek. And I stand by that. I do believe that.
Cold pizza.
Absolutely. But when we have great Star Trek, it should be celebrated. We should be screaming it from the mountains, and we should be
I
encouraging all
tried.
of our friends seriously to just give it a couple of episodes. How many times do you say that to people?
I
Um,
tried. Been trying to do that. I
you
finally got
know,
Josh to commit.
yeah, I talk ad nauseum to people. It's either about Dungeons and Dragons or it's about Star Trek, and people are getting tired of having conversations with me, because I've just so much of my best memories come from watching Star Trek and growing up watching Picard on TV and being aware of the legacy that was Star Trek, and as a cosplayer, sort of feeling like I was privy to that and part of it. Um, so seeing it kind of shuffled off to the side like this is just it's so sad to me, and it's a tragic thing, and I think it's an incredibly huge um missed opportunity if they don't. And please don't think that I'm doing anything to try to encourage the companies from making or for keeping the strike going any longer than it needs to, but this is an opportunity to put a show that you already have and give it to a general audience while this strike is happening. It's going to give you programming that you haven't had on your television screen. And I don't know, I'm not saying this is make or break it for Star Trek, but it just feels like it's one of those things that if they can't make it run now with all of the good stuff that they've got for Star Trek right now, I don't know what the point of continuing on with it would be.
Good point indeed. But what are your thoughts out there on Star Trek Day and the future of Star Trek, especially with the fact that it's coming back to broadcast television? Hopefully not for one time only.
Yeah.
It is for the first two episodes of the first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It is September 8th, 2023, part of the celebration for Star Trek Day, the 57th anniversary of the original Star Trek series being aired for the first time. Go ahead and check out our links on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook for all the info. But please let us know your thoughts on Star Trek Day. Is this the last big opportunity for Star Trek to go ahead and get a global audience? PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, you rocked it again as no one else does. You did a great job again, especially when I hit you up with a lot of news. I will be again honoring Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk on next week's State of Pro Wrestling with John Orlando. And I do also have a TV report coming up in the not too distant future from Don Fobbs as well, plus Josh and Melinda. We were going to be always doing stuff. But Melinda, you've got some things to plug. So any last thoughts before we head on out?
Yes. So, Vampires and Vitae, our 9th episode of our 3rd season, drops tomorrow. And this Sunday, when we're back to the live stream, we're going to be down a player. But all of our characters are going to continue on in the story. Yeah, they've gotten to the town, and the character that I play, Rose, her storyline has gotten it's turning quite dark, and it's perhaps darker than I intended it to go, but it just feels right by the character, so we're rolling with that. When it comes to Wizards and Wine, we're getting set for the finale that we're going to record on let me think, what's the date? September 16th. It's a Saturday. We're getting together, we're going to brunch, and then we're going to play D&D until we're done with the Witchlight. And I'm really excited about it, really proud of the work that both tables have done for the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It's the first real campaign that, as a DM, I've been able to run from start to finish with all of the same players. So it's really exciting. Super proud of it. Super proud of the tables, and yeah, I'm really excited for everybody to finally get to listen to all of the episodes. We're still kind of behind the scenes, getting caught up with a backlog of some episodes for Wizards and Wine. So those episodes are going to start dropping on a pretty regular basis again. So we're super excited.
Vampires and Vitae, Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Please go ahead and check it out today, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. They have such a great time, and hopefully you'll be entertained by it as well. And don't forget National Cinema Day. Don't you forget, Melinda. Go ahead and grab that man of yours. Take him out. Late night. You said you would. $4. $4. $4. Right there for shows across the U.S. Go check your local listings and be a part of National Cinema Day on Sunday. So for Melinda Barkhouse Ross, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And big shout out to everyone in the chat. You truly make it special for us as well. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.